right, everyone, welcome to episode number 43, Pest Control Millionaire. Today we get to talk to one of my good friends, Dean King. Before the show, he told me that he didn't know if he could bring a lot of value to this. And I kind of laughed because his kid's 20 years old. Have you turned 20 yet?
Yeah.
Doing almost $1 million in revenue. I think you forget that less than 5% of all businesses in the country make it over $1 million. So I think you bring a lot of value. You're super young. You're a hustler. You're one of those kids that everyone likes to coach because when you tell them to do something, they just go do it. And you don't have to worry if it's getting done or not. Like, it just gets done, and that's probably why you're growing so fast. So Dean King, he runs full circle services out of Doylestown, Pennsylvania. It's in Bucks County, he said. And he does a little bit of everything, but let him tell his story. And welcome to the show, Dean.
Thank you very much for having me, and hopefully I can give some value to somebody.
Oh, I know you can. You're fun to talk to. You're fun to be around. Lots of energy, kind of like myself. So we get to talking, and it's just like, who can talk first, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just try to sit back and listen to you tell your story. So why don't you just, you're young, so you haven't been out of high school very long, but kind of just tell us how you got in the industry, what you're doing through high school, what your high school was like, and then kind of just walk us to where you're up to today.
Yeah. So, I started the business in high school because I wanted to make more money. Like most, same kind of story as a lot of guys, but started in high school, wanted to make more money. Fell into the YouTube space very quickly. I was fortunate enough to kind of come on when there was a lot of content out.
Yep.
I know you kind of had to start without that, but I got to see a lot of the some of the OG creators now, or whatever they would be OG then. But and just in high school started with a stick shift Nissan Frontier with a ratchety trailer that I got from Tractor Supply, and just actually before that I was driving a quad. I stole my dad's quad and a snowmobile trailer, parked the lawnmower on one side, the quad, I'll send you photos after, the quad on the other side. And then I would convince somebody to take me to like a neighborhood, would drop the trailer, then pull the quad around and drive around neighborhoods with the quad. Super not legal, but super fun at the time to start the business out. And then after that, made some money, got the truck, got the trailer, convinced somebody to co-sign for me so I could get a zero turn, which was cool. And, just kept growing from there. Eventually, got some more trucks, dumped trailer, got on the landscape side, went pink about that time because, there was somebody on the interwebs that said pink would be great, but I wouldn't recommend it. And I heard that and I was like, pink sounds fantastic. I've always been that kind of bold person. So got the pink trucks rolling. And then, so this will be my third full year out of high school. I did it for probably, really for like 3 years in high school. I think I was talking to Jonas before the show. One of the cool things was in high school, like one of the coolest times was like, I'm getting on the school bus to go to school. And like two of my trucks are like rolling out. So that was wow. Fun. That was pretty much the start. And then today we have 6 trucks, 5 running on the road usually, and then landscape crew, fur crew, and then 2 or 3 mowing crews out now.
Okay, so you're in high school and you're riding on this 4-wheeler, but how did you get customers then?
Yeah, I door knocked. That was the way I got it initially. I ironed a polo shirt, like some green polo shirt, made like a little binder, which I found the other day, but like a binder of, like our work, and like stole photos from wherever, and just knocked on doors and was like, hey, I'll cut your lawn. The first customer I sold, I'm sure those that go door to door know this, but like I was pretty desperate after like, it was like my 3rd day with like no sales. And this dude like finally asked for a quote. And I think I cut his lawn for like $25 a week, like bi-weekly. It was a small lawn, but like we would charge $35 weekly. They're $37, I think, is our minimum now, all day for that lawn now. But, got in the door with that and then just, kept going.
That's pretty cool. You said you got into the industry kind of like watching YouTube, which is great. Like I said, back then there wasn't that. Like we had nothing. Good old school books, like go read some old books that get us up to speed and kind of learn that way. Who are some of the influencers you watch on YouTube? There's probably quite a few, but.
Yeah, no, a lot. I mean, I think initially, everybody likes the equipment videos from those guys on the equipment side, and they kind of make up business advice. But like the first time I really thought there was opportunity, because I think really big, was, hearing Jonathan Potoshnik on Lawn Care Millionaire. out there just, in his little, video with him like standing there answering questions. And like, I think the one of my favorite video of that was like how to run it, like running a $10 million company with like an Excel spreadsheet. And I was like, it's possible. And therefore I need to do it. So that was kind of when there was, because I was thinking about some other business ventures at the time, and I was going to be a doctor for about a month until I realized I'm not schooling it required. I'm not that, school is not really my thing. I was fine at school, just not my thing. And yeah, so I fell into him. I really liked Mike Andys a lot as well. We kind of built the business initially kind of off his model because he did a lot of content, a lot of stuff. And I'm sure I'm leaving out a few. There's a lot of just business YouTubers in general, like not just the lawn care space, but a lot of people from the advertising world. There's probably a laundry list of names of, I went from like the motivational YouTubers, like when it was hard, to like more business guys, to marketing, to now like more niche topics about specific questions I have that I want answered.
So you just brought up something that I'm going to have a full podcast on, just like with a bunch of guys talking about like the hard things in business and like the desperate times and like how they got through them. But what are some of the harder times that you've been through?
Yeah, I mean, I think when COVID, I haven't been in business crazy long, and I've never been through a down
12 months.
Yeah,
since you graduated. So
yeah, so for us, when COVID first hit, it was hard for me because we were doing a lot of landscape stuff, and it was like, just a weird time because I was doing all the in-person and that was just weird. But I mean, I think for me, the hardest part has been since the beginning, really, like I had a long time where I was struggling with hiring team members, like just because, I don't know, lack of call it whatever you want, lack of confidence, lack of whatever. But I'm this like whatever high school kid who's 18, who's like trying to convince 35-year-olds to come work for him, which was kind of weird. And, finding people on like, Facebook for $14 an hour. And this is when we should have been paying probably 18 or 19, like a couple of years ago. Cash, end of the day, unless you're the IRS, in which case we, of course, filed payroll taxes 5 years ago, naturally. But for everybody else, it was, that kind of some sketchy stuff at that point. But got that turned around, of course, for the past few years now. But yeah, that was that. I think that was probably our biggest struggle for a long time was the employees. I got a really, really good piece of advice from Mike Andys at that time because he's younger as well. And I was like, man, how do I do this? Like these old guys, he's like, just don't think about it. It was like, just don't even, but why are you thinking about that?
Right.
And kind of after that, I just stopped. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm the boss, whatever. And then, just kind of learning to set boundaries. Don't let people walk on you. Especially hiring guys with experience from the industry, which I thought was better initially, which now we just rather train people usually. But hiring people from the industry are like kind of jaded sometimes and like really not nice, and kind of learning how to put up boundaries and, be a manager and then be a leader after that.
Yeah, I like that.
Right now is also a hard time if you wanted to go, like not a hard time, but like definitely made some mistakes this year that I'm paying for with just work ethic and, have to pay for them now. But like, I wouldn't say it's hard necessarily. It's just,
it's never easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard now because it's what's on your mind. What are some of the, I make mistakes every year too. Like I try to keep my batting average pretty good, but we all make mistakes. We're not perfect, but those bigger things that we can reach out to our friends and mentors for to help you along the way. But what are some of the bigger mistakes that you've made?
Like on a smaller level?
Sure.
Yeah. Made a lot of mistakes. On the client side, just we got into hardscaping last year. We lost a lot of money doing that just for fun. I was like, oh, this sounds fun. Big equipment sounds fun. Excavators, that's cool. Until, I had no idea how to bid jobs, no idea how to do the work. Lost my shirt on a couple of those. Had some hard stuff with not having our ducks. I shouldn't say that, but like hard stuff with, people, kind of abusing workers' comp. We had some issues with that. Trying to think, have I told you of any other ones that I've had that I'm blanking on?
No, not that I can think of. But, yeah, no.
Yeah, a lot of little stuff, but like I've always kind of been a super visionary.
Yeah.
So to me, everything is a speed bump. Like, even if God, whatever, something happened and we went bankrupt, we'd be like, man, this sucks. Now I can't get loans and I start my next business. Like,
right.
And I would be right at it again. And it's like another thing in the belt.
Yeah. Because they can't take away what's up here, right? They can take away they can take away the equipment, they can take away it all, but they can't take what's in your brain to go start it over again. So you can just go up a couple $100 push mower and start over if you need to. You've also had a lot of big wins along the way too. What are some of those big wins that you've learned?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest wins come in the form of like lessons to me. Yeah. Like I'm not I mean, this is the first year I've actually started really kind of being like, hey, I want to make some money. Like some profit will be really good. But I mean, I think the biggest win that I was really stoked about was we went in 2021 to 2022. We went from 240 to 750 in revenue. So we like tripled last year, which was really cool. Like a rocket ship. That was super fun for me. And that was just a massive win. I think also for us now, having some team members that have, lasted for a few years, like for over a year now, is a big win to me too, because our turnover initially was like, we're talking like measuring employees, like retention in like weeks and months. And now we're finally able to say we have some people that have been around for a few years. Hiring our current operations manager, like office operations manager. She's not in the field and stuff, but like that was a big win for us too, because now she's taken a lot off my plate so I can focus on other stuff. And I mean, getting out of the field like is also a big win. I know, and like I'm surrounded with guys that are like you who are killing it. So it's always that comparison thing. But like getting out of the field and being able to work on the business every day has also been really, really cool.
Yeah, you and I have talked a lot about that over the past few months. And when I first met you, I mean, not that you're not any different now, but you're all over the place, and you're going to go do all this things like, whoa, relax. Like, sounds like a great idea. And in the future, I think it's super important to move on, right? Let's just focus on what we're doing here first before you go open up 6 more locations this year.
Yeah, I think when I was talking with you, we were in the process of opening a second location, and we just bought a. We would have just. We have a second location technically because we bought a whatever. But like, I was in the process of opening a second. I was like, and then we're gonna do a third, and then a fourth. And you're like, hang on, like you haven't even proven the model yet. Like, does it work? So yeah.
Because it is a great idea, and what you're going to be doing is awesome. But like, let's work on our first location, proving out the model, make sure we're making money, and then go. Where do you think you would be if you would have started those second and third, fourth locations this year?
I wouldn't be on this call. I'd be out probably pushing a mower or running around, or I don't know. I'd be stressed.
Yeah, because the guy that you wanted to send over there, I don't know if that worked out or didn't work out, or kind of how that's going these days, but.
Yeah, we had a team member who we were going to send over there, and then we were going to put somebody else in his place here, and he ended up not working out in that role because of he just couldn't. Yeah, I don't say probably could. I guess couldn't handle. It's the right way to say it, and ended up just going back to being a team leader, which he's great at. Does good, makes performance pay. Yep. But it would have been a catastrophe because then I would have been going between 2 places, and then probably would be running around chasing my tail trying to figure out how to get the mulch done, and every week would be like a battle trying to get the lawns cut. Yeah. Just craziness. For sure. So you went from 250 to 750 in 1 year span. I mean, that's a big jump. Usually it's, the 250, 400, 650, 800. It's just how it goes. Then 1.2, 1.5, 1.8, typically what the trend is, right? How did you skip from the 500 and go straight from 250 to 750? Like, there's a lot of people that are listening to that are at that 250 that's just the first hurdle they're trying to get over. They're trying to get out of the truck. Hire the first person. That's just like the hardest spot is to get out, start their second route. How did you make that jump? Yeah, I mean, for us, I think it was really like, I was kind of still, the 250 was my first full year out of high school. That was also the year COVID had hit kind of. So I was kind of not getting after it as much as I could have been, being in the field a lot, whatever. But then the following year, I realized I don't particularly love working in the field. I'm happy to jump in here or there, whatever, but I don't love doing it. So we did is just brought on some more people, really doubled down on the landscaping side. I think earlier I mentioned we have, we only have one truck going around doing like bed and bush, like maintenance is what we call it now. It's all like recurring, but we were doing a lot of mulch. It was whatever, people were doing a lot of stuff to their homes. So we did a lot of just, we had 2 landscape trucks running with, 3 people in them every day, plus another probably 2 mowing trucks going out. And, but this work doesn't just show up out of nowhere. Yeah. So sorry for the marketing side. We did a lot of, we didn't really do any paid ads online or nothing that worked well, but we did a lot of organic stuff. And so I really played off the high school kid thing. Like, hey, I just graduated, check this out. We did a lot like local Facebook groups posting in there a bunch, getting people to share it. Like, hey, this is a local high school kid. We were charging good money. I mean, we were charging what we should have been charging. We weren't undercharging, but just having that out. We did a lot with Nextdoor. We don't really use it as much anymore because, people don't really care about some company as much. But for the high school kid thing, it played really well. And then did a lot. We were doing emails to our current customers at that time. That helped also, following up on. And we just did a lot with estimate. Like we just did a lot with the follow up too. Like, a lot of companies, what I've noticed is they'll send an estimate out and be like, oh, I didn't hear back from them. It's like, call them. Like, we were calling people like 5 times and sending like 70. I mean, I love automations, but like calling like 5 times, 7 emails. And like, we were just like, there was one day last year where I closed like 33,000 in a day, but it was just sitting down and just pounding old estimates. Like, hey, you want to sign up? Hey, you want to sign up? And just, that kind of stuff.
So that's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
And you called my office one day and I did something like fill out a form.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. I'm thinking like, I hope everything that I taught these guys are actually doing, in my office. And they actually called you back, right? Anthony, you talked to Anthony on the phone, one of the sales guys, and he called you back, and you're like, don't worry, I really am one of Jonas's buddies. Like,
I didn't even say that at first. I let him give me a spiel first, and I kind of like went back and forth, and I was like, no, I'm just messing with you. I just wanted to see what your spiel was. I'm one of Jonas's, friends or whatever. Like, you can mark me as lost. That property's fake. I picked somewhere in Escanaba and whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. So you're a hustler, so you're picking up the phone, you're dialing calls, you're knocking in doors, generating as much revenue as you possibly could. Yeah. And that was your first full year out of high school?
And the pink trucks too. That was like, nobody'd seen them at all in our market yet. Like, and that year we painted every truck pink. Local Mako.
Why not have a Fiat? Oh, Mako did it?
Yeah, so we spray them and then get like that sticker, like the vinyl stickering on them. Just because we have, it's like wraps or whatever, like $3 or $4 grand, and painting was like $800 plus the stickers.
Yeah.
And so that was the first year we had the pink trucks fully. I think the year before we had like one. And so having 4 pink trucks on the road and plus a pink car, everybody's like, man, we see the pink everywhere. And so that was a huge thing, like just a novelty thing. I think we had an office at that time too on like a main road we got, and we would just park the pink car outside. And we had a massive, it was totally, the township made us take it down eventually, but we had like a massive banner out there that was like full circle with all of our stuff. So we did a lot of guerrilla marketing initially before we got into the online paid ads and all that.
So now that the company is bigger size, did you stop doing all the guerrilla marketing stuff?
We don't do as much of it. We do post on Facebook here and there. We were really big in like reply. Like, there's a lot of local Facebook groups that won't let businesses post. And they get really, around us, they get really mad about that. I know some guys can just post in them and they don't care. But we reply to, me or somebody like from personal Facebooks, reply under, and anytime somebody's like, hey, is there a local lawn care company you recommend? Oh, hey, I have mosquitoes here or whatever. Every time under there. And like, most companies, when they reply to those posts, just put like their company name and that's it. And it's like, really? Like, we reply, hey, so sorry to hear you have mosquitoes in your yard. We'd love to, get you an estimate to take care of it. If you want to do it yourself, here's kind of what you could do, and like actually giving value and like taking a second. And then people call, whether just to say thank you or to actually get a quote.
Yeah, it's money. I have this little button. I'm going to hit it, okay?
Yeah.
It's the dropping bombs button. It's a new one. I don't think you can hear it, but we'll see what happens. You can't hear it, but that makes me laugh every time I hear it. So we'll see what happens when it goes live, if we hear that or not. But yeah, that's great. And then what another thing you could do there too, Dean, is like if you can network with other, like let's just say HVAC, plumbing, electrical companies that are bigger in your area, that when they see those posts, like you guys can get referrals from each other. So if you see someone saying, hey, there's HVAC, like, jump on there and say, hey, call Jimmy's HVAC, right? You guys can work together and you can dominate the entire market just by doing that with a couple other companies too.
That's another bomb. You should give yourself a bomb on that one.
Okay, one more time, just because it's fun and new. Dalton, can you hear that? Can you hear it? Okay, cool. We'll see what happens. But yes, that's a really, really big win that you can do. I'm not saying that we're great at it either, but it's something that I've heard in the past, like really working with those guys. So if like you're in a B&I group and those guys and they're bigger service industries, like you guys can go back and forth. The Facebook thing works money.
Yeah.
Again, something we got to get better at too.
Like on the, like I've called this was to buy businesses, but I called all of our competitors in like a whatever mile radius. And, a lot of them don't offer the lawn care side of stuff, like just the mowing. And so we really tried hard to get people to send that. It's working, like to get like, hey, we'll give you $100 for every, customer that signs up that comes from you. I probably need to just spend some more time and, get some nicer stuff like mailed over to them so they have some literature to give customers. Probably could do that, but
yeah, that works good too. And give them that quick dopamine fix for as soon as they sell one, you give them the $100 away. They're like, oh man, that was nice. Like if you can get it to them fast and like you feel that dopamine, they'll do more.
we were waiting at the end of the month to write checks. That's a better idea. Immediately mail them a check or a gift card or something for $100.
It says that's a quick fix. Or like, okay, that was easy. I can go get another one. Next thing you know, you have a small company that's giving you 3 to 5 referrals a week. So you spend $100 to go get a $2,000 client a year. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
But it's all those little things that you kind of forget to do as you get bigger, you know?
Yeah.
You just got to have someone that's just over marketing that can do just those things.
Soon. But remember, we can't whatever, put the cart before the horse. That's my number one, the quick start thing.
I feel like the cart is always in front of your horse.
Oh yeah. It's always there.
You're so much like me. It's funny. And that's what like connected really fast right away. Cause it's like, man, this kid's just like I was. Like I was all over the place, but someone just needed to be like, whoa, slow down. Like focus on here, focus. And that's what it takes sometimes.
Yeah. I went to an event and we had like the decision-making process. We were like going through that. And I was like, my decision-making process is like idea, like as soon as possible, usually 1 hour to 1 day, implement idea and then plan.
Yes.
Like we were this year. I kind of made the business seize a little bit, especially because I wasn't in the field I wasn't really neat. We have an estimator doing estimates. A lot of them over the phone now. We switched kind of that, but like, we have managers there, so I'm just left to brew in my office all day, in here, and then I just ideas. So now we have a whole decision making process, and there was a funny joke too about like because I talk to Jonas probably about once every 2 weeks. Unless I have a really good idea, in which case I bother him incessantly. But like, it's like, man, I have to wait 2 weeks for an idea. And it's like, wait, that's what should happen. Like it should sit on it, think on it, actually do some research,
Yeah. And you're a quick start like myself. And like, we just bombard our team with these new ideas and like, it's hard on them. So that's why I told you, like, I have a decision-making process for myself. I just write all my ideas down and then I just kind of go through them. Like once a week, I'll go back and look at them. And the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, that's not a great idea. Right. But then if I hand it off to my team, they know at this point that it's taken me about 3 weeks to a month to actually put it in front of them. Like, okay, this is obviously pretty important at this point. Because I used to do it the same way, just walk in, just fire stuff at them. But next thing you know, they're like chasing down these rabbit holes that don't need to. Like they're looking up all this equipment or this service that we just don't need to do. Like spending all this time. But that's my fault, right? So I just got to get out of their way. So basically what I'm saying is like, when I get to something now and bring it to the table, they're like, okay, this is pretty important, but can it be done this week, next quarter, or is it a next year thing? We'll kind of process it through that way. It took me some time to learn that too. And like once I like learned myself and like learned the whole Colby score and like what I'm good at and what my natural traits are, things like that, I'm like, okay, now I understand this. I can't do this type of thing. But it takes that good like integrator, right? Someone who's really good at integrating things that you can pass those things off to, because you and I are not going to do them. We're just not. Like I'm a 2 in follow through.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get done. So, but if I have a really good idea and I can pass it off to a really good integrator that can get it done, is highly valuable. So finding yourself an integrator in the future will be really important.
Yeah. No, we're actually looking for that role now. Like as we speak, we have ads. It's for me. We've had a hard time. I mean, I love your input on that too, but we've had a tough time trying to find somebody that's like perfect for that role, just because it's so. Like I'd love that industry experience, but we're, doing that. We have a really, like I said, awesome office manager who's doing a lot of stuff on that end, but we need somebody on like the field side to that's not just a manager over the field teams, but actually like implementing new ideas. And instead of just keeping the business running, actually like taking what I say and implementing it. Because despite my best efforts, if I try to implement something, usually it lasts for about a week and then I change my mind and do something else.
Yes, I know the feeling. When you first got into the industry, like in high school, were you already on a CRM then? Or were you using Excel?
So I think I used Excel like year 1, like when I had maybe 15 lawns, 20 lawns. But I think and then we went right from that to like some free, I always forget what it was called, like Yard Book, I think. Yeah. Some free CRM just to mess with that. And then very quickly, saw, the service autopilot and the benefit of charging cards. And we actually now, like today, we charge cards the day after service. So, whether it allows my bad spending habits sometimes, maybe, but like it also lets us get cash really, really fast. Yeah. Which is awesome. So we immediately very quickly got service autopilot, so we could charge cards. Cause I was driving around. I actually remember I would play like classic rock and like drive around like Saturdays and pick up checks. And I thought I was the coolest dude ever. Cause I'm like some high school kid to get like that, like, which was terrible, like for AR, but like, you would have to pay at that point. So, right. So that was fun at the time, but like, yeah, just understood the importance of it. And then we've been rocking with service autopilot, love it or hate it sometimes ever since.
Yeah. And it's very powerful, but I think that no CRM's perfect. They all have their flaws, and there's always workarounds that you have to do, but just having that in place is super important. But that also just came from, I'm assuming, YouTube, right? The Long Care Millionaire YouTube.
Literally, yeah, Long Care Millionaire on YouTube. And just, just seeing the power of it, and like, okay, but really the way I looked at things was like, this dude runs a, whatever, 10, 15, whatever, $1 million company on this system. I want to get there. So therefore I should just start with this system, because I know switching is going to be painful later. And so that's why we started on it.
Yeah. I was with him last week, and I asked him straight up, like, do you even realize the impact that you've had? And he like looked at me like funny. He's like, I mean, he thinks he does. He's like, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think you have any idea. Like every person that I talk to, like, and yes, this is kind of the world that we live in, but he's made a huge impact on their business from just the Long Care Millionaire videos.
Well, yeah, and he gave so much like actual value. Most guys are going like, let's test out this Echo versus steel blower. Yeah. Like that doesn't make more money.
Right.
Whereas like he's sitting there like, let's dive into the difference between 1-man and 2-man trucks. And like, that's a question people actually have and want to hear from a dude that's got 40 trucks on the road.
Yeah.
Like that's the.
Well, since you brought it up, what do you like better, 1 or 2-man trucks?
So 1-man trucks will always be more efficient, but like just from a straight labor percentage, but for asset utilization, fancy word for those that basically means like how how well you use your capital, like how well you use your trucks and equipment. It's 2 men all day. We can get a truck and a cheap trailer with a 0 turn on it, or we use stand-on mowers, but a truck with a stand-on mower and 2 people in it, that setup costs, call it $30,000. For the setup, we usually get loans on the mowers because 0%. Who doesn't want that? But and then we can put 2 guys in it, and they can go do, $150,000 a year in revenue with that truck. As opposed to if we were running 1-man crews, even if they could do a couple more lawns a week or something like that, or make a little bit more revenue, it just doesn't make sense because you have to buy more trucks to do it.
Yeah, for sure. You said 0% financing in your mowers. Who do you have? Yeah. Is that Sheffield?
Yeah, we just use Sheffield. I probably have to switch that up because it's like super like through me as a human, like as a person, not through the business. But for right now, I've used them. And
what I like about Sheffield is that you can use your credit card to make the payments.
Yeah.
And then you can have the business pay your credit card to earn the points, which is crazy.
Yeah, you told me about that. I just started doing that.
Yeah, so that's a Jason Cup thing that I got there. And I think he's going to be on next few weeks too. So it'll be another good one. He's a stud. But yeah, I think I learned that from him is just back in the day, like we don't have any of that equipment anymore, but back then we did. And it was awesome. We just make our payments with credit card and we just earn the points from that. So we're like getting paid to use this thing, which is pretty incredible. Oh. So now it's 2023 and you have these big plans for next year, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be right around the $1 million mark this year, right? Just over right around there?
Yeah, I'm trying to cross it. We're trying really hard. We're bringing 2 salespeople in-house and then trying to get our door-to-door team rolling. Man, I asked Jonas, I was like, why do you have more door-to-door guys? You should just have unlimited door-to-door guys. This is amazing.
What was the question that I asked you back? Do you remember? Or do you remember what I said back to you?
Oh, you said you'll see.
You'll see. Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah, so no, we've been trying to get that off the ground, but we have 2 in-house salespeople that are just going to be calling our list. We're going to keep one of them using that they're stealing that from Patrick Bet-David. He's like, hire 2 salespeople because then you just keep one that's better. Yep. And if they both rock and you get enough money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, are you going to Patrick Bet-David's conference at the end of this month?
I'm not. I didn't want to go unless I could sit in the really expensive seating, and that money's better spent towards other stuff.
Yes, I agree. I think the front is like $5 or $10,000.
Yeah, I think it's like $10,000.
See the shirt I'm wearing?
What?
See the shirt that I'm wearing?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Future looks bright. It's Patrick Bet-David. We use it as a competition though. So like our sales guys, the person who wins in each location gets to go with us for the month. So
that's awesome.
So yeah,
next year, I'll go with you next year.
Do it. But we spend like the $7.97 or $6.97 on a ticket and just bring everyone. It's a fun experience. The guys love it. Like half of them hadn't even ever been out of Wisconsin or the UP. They've never flown before. One kid, this is a super funny story. One kid said, "Man, my leg hurts." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I must have jet lag." And we all just started cracking up laughing because it's a funny story. But yeah, we have a good time. It's just a good experience. Like taking those guys out to eat for, sushi and on the ocean, like they're just not used to that. So it was a good experience for them.
Yeah.
What's your goals for 2024?
Man, I mean, so our big goal that some of the guys rally behind it that are more visionary, which is, it's a bad goal, I guess, for the team. But our goal, we say like always, our 10-year goal is 100 million.
Yeah.
And then kind of work backwards from that. But next year we want to do somewhere between 2 and 3, I think. For me, what matters more is kind of setting a budget that backs what we're doing. And that this is new, by the way, very new, but setting a budget and then whatever revenue we can hit with that budget. Awesome. I don't want to, I think you and I come from the same methodology of like, why would you set a marketing budget if you're turning the money? Right. I mean, a budget for everything other than marketing, but right. On the marketing side, if we're turning the money, just keep going. If we get door-to-door guys that are crushing it, making a bunch of money, making the company get a lot of new customers, just keep growing. So I don't want to set a cap on it, but if we don't do 2 million next year, I'll be very angry. And I'll probably just force it by working.
And so you said setting the budget, which is super important, and not a lot of people do it. Especially, under 500,000 or $1 million, and they should. And we do a budget every single year too. In fact, I think we do twice a year at this point. We have a quarterly rocks, and we go through EOS, and we're talking about it weekly, so we kind of know where we're at. But what made you think of the budget part? It must have been a pain point.
Yeah, there was a pain point of the fact that I looked at our P&L and it was negative 30,000 for a month. And my eyeballs fell out of my head and realized that I didn't want to keep doing that. And then I looked at our credit card, everything line by line, and I'm a master justifier. So I can justify any expense. I can justify, and I can sell the whole team on why it's a good idea too. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you should buy that software that we're not going to use ever, but it sounds really cool. And so we had to set a budget in place, and then just to.
Didn't we have that same conversation this week? You were going to go spend $11,000 on something. We don't have to say what it was. Yeah. I'm like. It sounds great in theory, but I could do the same thing for you for $250, $300. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm glad that you reached out to me for things like that.
Me too. Yeah, me too. So I'm $11,000 richer for that.
So to get to 2 to 3 million, I know you changed your name recently from Full Circle Landscape Solutions, right?
Yeah.
And now it's going to be Full Circle Services. What is your services that you're going to start dialing in?
Yeah, so I mean, just a little more background on that. Basically, the reason we didn't double this year, because initially, when we started the year, I was looking to double, and I was going to add way more landscaping, and I wasn't even thinking about the fert and pest side until I heard about the economics of the fert and pest side, and especially the sale value of the business long term. Not that I'm looking to sell it, but just at some point, you don't want to build something with no value. So, decided the fert and pest is the way to go. So we're really looking to try to make $1 million of that fert and pest. We're trying to really, this year we'll probably do around 100,000, maybe give or take. Without aerations, with aerations it's going to be more. But without aerations, just recurring fert and pest stuff, probably about $100,000. And then next year I want to just catapult that. I'm going to put all of our marketing dollars on fertilization, pest control, then upsell everything else. If you want to get your lawn mowed, you got to have fertilization or pest control done.
Yep.
And every service basically you have to get. We're going to bundle that with the fertilization, pest control, and we want to. The goal is to have 4 or 5 technicians doing that next year by the end of the year, out in trucks, and hopefully going to get the door-to-door rolling, and then just do a lot more on the paid ad side. We're partnering up with some companies to help with that, just because I don't know enough. I think my time is better spent not trying to figure out the intricacies of the Google and managing that every day. So, yeah.
Yeah. So JP was talking about that. Their biggest source of revenue has always been mowing, always. But this year, it's first year ever it's been fertilization weed control. But they forced all of their clients to take fertilization weed control. They weren't going to service them. And he thought, he was like, we're probably going to lose a bunch of clients. But because they didn't want to lose them for mowing, they took the fertilization weed control and dropped their current client. So he said it worked so great. So now the biggest revenue generating income for them, they're a large company plus $10 million, is fertilization weed control. And he said that was a catapult right there. So I think it's a great idea to make them take multiple services.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, we don't have the luxury of doing 12 months here. We get to fertilize for 9 months. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be where we're going to do most of our growth. And we've switched all of our lands. We did probably last year about 450, 500,000 in just landscape. And we basically killed that this year. That's the quick start. I probably should have phased it out. Like most, you see reasonable people on the podcast do what they do when they're like, oh yeah, we took a year and like over 4 years phased it out. I was just like this year. And so that kind of cut a lot of our revenue, but yeah, we're only doing maintenance on the landscape side now, and then just, really focusing on the recurring services.
Cool. And then what's your plan on attack for marketing next year? I see you just hired someone.
Yeah.
You're just gonna go strictly online. What's your thoughts around the marketing for this year?
Yeah. So for next year, we're big on the marketing calendar. Like I really like that. And so we're probably planning like the 52 emails we're going to send. And we actually don't send them every week in winter. So whatever that ends up being, the 48 emails we're going to send, the weekly emails we send out to our customers, the upsells. We're going to do a lot with so there's a really cool thing about do one-click estimate emails, right? Where you send them an email about a service, they have to click a button and you send them an estimate. What we're probably going to do with the salespeople we're hiring now is over the winter, create estimates for all of our customers for all the services you want to sell them, and then just send them estimates. So it's one-click accept, add your card, or a lot of them already have cards for too, but one-click accept, and we'll just start the service. So I think that'll be a win. But as far as external marketing goes, we're going to do a lot probably with Google, pay-per-click ads, Google local services. We have that all set up, as well as I'm pretty personable as well, so we're looking to get some YouTube stuff started. I don't know if you guys have looked up Turf Badgers, but they kill it on the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. So we're going to do some more on that front, and then try to do some more community involved stuff as well.
I love that,
because I grew up around here, and we haven't done a lot yet as a company. So we're still the local pink company, but we don't have the we're I think going to do some more community stuff, some giveaways. I saw in the last podcast that was a pretty cool idea. Some giveaways on Facebook, some local stuff.
We're just about to launch ours. Like I said, I just talked to Trisha yesterday, as our director of operations, and we just have to really start getting back into the community and get back to where we started as grassroots, and just really start giving back.
Yeah.
So exactly. I love that idea too. I think we ordered like 2 or 3 of those tents last week or 2 weeks ago for that same reason. Just there's a state fair going on here right now. Walk through there Monday night, and this is the 3rd year in a row I've cussed myself. I'm like, gosh darn it, why aren't we here again? So it's just things like that got to get put on the marketing calendar to make sure that they get done.
Yeah, I mean, actually, here's another fun one for us, and I don't know if anybody else has struggled with this in the past, but just doing a good job and getting referrals. We've not always, going from 240 to 750, some quality control but so now we're really, really focusing in on that and trying to do a good job for our customers. And so I think next year we're trying to have, 10 to 20% of our new customers come from referrals. Whereas, right now it's closer to 3 to 5%. I'd really like to get that number up, really actually ask for the referrals. I think our Google, has, I don't know, less than 100 reviews. We're trying to get that over 150 for next spring. And just really, get the word of mouth going, because we have the pink and it's going to be easy to refer us and, that kind of stuff.
That's cool. You talk about quality control, but then when you're growing through that growth, when did you finally switch to pay for performance? Was it right during that, or was that this year?
So we had pay for performance kind of through that whole thing, where the team's getting a percentage of revenue. I have a love-hate relationship with it, I think, until this year, where we finally have it kind of getting there, where people are making it pretty consistently. But it was just hard because, on the landscaping side, we used to do estimates based on budgeted hours to say, hey, this is a 30-hour job. And then if I messed up the estimate, which I was liable to do, then the team wouldn't make any money and they'd be pissed. And then if I messed it up the other direction, any estimate that we bid too low, people accepted, but all the estimates we bid too high, people declined. So it's skewed. If I only mess up 1 out of 10 estimates, every single one of those 10 I mess up are going to be on the schedule. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of an issue. And then for mowing, it was just an issue of guys, John understanding it. But at this point, we're starting to see our team make it relatively consistently, which has been really cool. And we kind of changed the way we do it a little bit. We bet our jobs hourly now. So it's literally customer call. I got this from you, actually, from Jonas. So massive bomb there. But bidding jobs hourly over the phone. So we no longer have somebody driving around in a car all day just talking to people. And we just over the phone, hey, based on your property size, your cleanup will be, between 6 and 9 hours. If it takes more than 9, we're going to give you a call, let you know why, and that, we need to add time, if that happens to be the case. And then, just sell them on the phone. And people are we solve their problem immediately. So it's even if people don't love the hourly. Not everybody loves it, but we can solve their problem right now and get them on the schedule for whenever, and they're just done. They don't have to deal with estimates back and forth, waiting for, whatever, Joe Blow Lawn Care to not call them back on all that whole shenanigans.
Great. Yeah, no, that's great. It's just the small wins that, you're spending, you have someone making $40,000, $50,000 just driving around and doing estimates when a CSR sales guy can do it over the phone.
Yeah.
Now you can have that same guy go do something else that's revenue generating income. Like when you pull up jobs online, they don't always show up. So those ones you're going to have to send the guy out to, but still, even if you can save 70% of his time being out in the field, he can go work on internal estimates or whatever, get them all done.
Yeah.
What is one of the, because you're so young and you can run so fast, like it's pretty incredible. And that's why I wanted you on the podcast, because it's doable and people get stuck in the mindset of, I have to wait till I'm 40 years old to hit $5 million. No, you don't. Just go do it. But where did you get this mindset from? Like you could you're humble, but you're aggressive. And where does this, who were you in high school? Like, were you always aggressive? Were you athlete? Were you competitive? Or...
Yeah, so I was I was a swimmer in I did gymnastics as when I was younger, till actually competitive gymnastics till I was in maybe, I don't know, 7th grade or so, till I got till the point where we were doing it was literally 24 hours a week in practices, every day and Saturdays. And I was just I kept getting hurt and I was not my thing. So I switched over to competitive swimming. So did that for a lot of years. And that's 2 a days, trying to hit. And I wasn't always the best at that, but but just a lot of practice, a lot of work ethic. I think I got from that. It sucks. You're in the water. It's cold. It's 5:30. So just that, but that was part of it. And then I think for me, my dad's in business, which is cool. He's in insurance. Nothing to do with contract. He used to do some contracting stuff, but nothing to do with landscaping at all, but just seeing his mindset, getting introduced to Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was younger. I remember listening to that book for the first time, in the car, driving somewhere, and just as a probably 12
That's
or 13-year-old, just rocking my world. And then just kind of seeing what's possible, and I want to, to give back wise, it super inspires me to be able to give jobs. It didn't hit me at first either, which is weird, but now I'm super inspired by the fact that, there's 15 people or whatever, wherever we're at now, for employees, that's families rely on us for a paycheck. And that's super awesome. And then also selfishly, I want to drive a Lamborghini and fly private planes. That's
and you
also
will,
that.
And you will too. I just know the way you operate, and you're going to do it. Just keep up the good work.
That's a tangent from your initial question, but yeah, who I was in high school, I was kind of the weird dude who was more excited about business than anything. I was not the kind of person that hung out with friends after school, really at all. I was, not the type of person that really wanted to do, I just wanted to do business. And that's just really spend a lot of time, not that I couldn't make friends or that I didn't have any friends, but it was just that I would rather do business. I'd rather do focus on numbers and play with Excel, because, it's really easy to get rich on Excel. So that's fun to play with.
For sure.
But do all that whole thing. It just was kind of, not a loner, but somebody that I prefer to just spend time doing marketing stuff, learning about customers, watching YouTube videos from, pick your person, not even all industry related, but just in general, just learning.
It's funny. He's you're so much further ahead of me and whatever, you're crushing with them. Dude, you're so much further ahead of me. You have no idea. Shit, I was wrestling in high school. The last thing I cared about was business. I didn't figure out business until I was almost 30, so you're killing it. So good work. So when I say that I'm ahead of you, I just have more experience, more time on you, but you're going to pass me soon, I swear. You're killing it. So good work. I know you said you want to go 100 million when you go to 2 to 3 million next year. So what would you say your 5-year goal is? And what do you think the company's going to look like then?
Yeah. So it gets blurry, as I'm sure it gets blurrier the further out you look. But for me, our ideal 5-year would be 10 million. So I'm going to grow 60% a year, because 60 gets us there basically if we're doing that. And I think for me, I'm not rushing into the multiple locations anymore, although I think that's going to be important. We kind of have 2 locations now just by virtue of some accounts we bought. So we have a route for an applicator kind of north of us. But we're going to be probably multiple locations at that point, probably having 3 to 4 locations at that number, just because we're our area where we're in is we're in a very nice area, and then around that is not necessarily people that want to spend a couple thousand a year on on our services. So probably opening up in another area that's wealthy. There's a lot of money across the River in New Jersey from us.
Mm.
So maybe a location over there. And then for me, I think one of the big things is just because I want it now and I want it fast is really trying to figure out the door knocking game, just to start those new locations. But to me, that looks like, and that to me looks like mainly fertilization, pest control. I don't think we're going to get rid of mowing. I think we do it pretty well, relatively profitably now, especially with the performance pay. And I just kind of want to, I don't want to put any effort behind that, but if we can just keep doing mowing and like having that be, a thing, I think it'll be really cool, especially as robotic mowers come out. I know you and I've talked about that with robo mowers coming out soon, hopefully, and what that'll look like on the business. But, and it's also just a cool thing to be able to get clients because it's really easy to, upsell somebody in a FERT that's a mowing customer, vice versa. So I think we're going to keep doing that at the new locations as well.
Cool. How far are you from Philly?
We're about an hour. Far enough where when team members come from Philly, they stop showing up after a while, so we don't hire from there anymore.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
How's hiring been for you guys this year?
Better. A lot better
Good.
than in the past. I think part of it is that we actually figured out how to interview like a hiring process. Instead of just talking to them on the phone, you'd be like, all right, cool, come in Monday.
Yeah.
Or how does tomorrow sound?
Yeah.
Like, we actually have a process with interviewing. Now we've just brought in doing like Colby testing for our, crew leader roles or crew team leader. We call them team leaders. Just because I hate the word crew and guys. Like hey, the guys will be out.
Yeah.
Irks me.
Yeah.
Irks me. So we call them a team and stuff, but we just started kind of really professionalizing our hiring process and just always be hiring now. Like, in the past we'd be like, we wouldn't need anybody. So we stopped hiring and all of a sudden 2 guys quit or I have to like owe somebody for something or whatever. And all of a sudden we're down a couple people and now I'm like rushing to hire. Whereas we've been like consistently hiring all year this year, which has been pretty helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And like what other real job can you go into where it's like, yeah, just show up, start tomorrow. Like it's never a thing. So why is it a thing in the service industry? Like, no, like have a process of how you hire people. Don't hire them on the spot. Unless you say, hey, call them back the next morning and say, hey, you want to do a 3-day trial? Like, sure. Come in and do a 3-day trial. And at the end of the 3-day trial, it doesn't work out. Cool. Pay them and then see you later. If they want to stay on board, great. Well, yeah, like I always, we have a whole process. Like come in, do your interview. We're gonna discuss it as a group, whether it's gonna be a good fit or not. Talk about some of the key points to them. And then we're gonna follow up with them like the next day or the day after. And have them come in. And if it's a bigger hire, we're going to do 2, 3, 4 interviews, Just depends on which level you're hiring for. But at the technician level, still just don't hire them on the spot.
We have funny. We actually do 2 interviews for the technician level where but like the phone screen. I don't know if you got the phone screen though, but like phone screen and then the interview and then they're hired.
Same here. Cool. So we are, August, September, almost September. Yeah. So 4 more months to hit your goals, right? What are you going to do to hit those goals?
So hiring those salespeople was a big part of it for us.
Yeah,
for sure. I think we're at the point now where we have a team member who's really kind of taken the field supervisor, we called it role, but just over all the field team. So that way I can not be getting calls all day and dealing with dumb stuff. Hey, we hit a fence. And I'm like, okay, great. Just whatever. So now there's somebody else to pass that on to. And now we have our office side really good. We're in the process of bringing on another CSR. And so we'll have our, office operations manager, and then a CSR under her. And then basically, other than focusing on hiring an overall field operations manager, which is kind of more of a profit thing. As far as revenue goes, we're going to be getting after it with aerations and going to be really selling those door to door. We have some guys starting for that, hopefully. Having those in-house salespeople just calling our current customer base to upsell them. We're going to do a lot with fall cleanups because we do a lot of fall cleanups in our area. And we're going to do Christmas lights this year as well because that seems to work really. I've heard a lot of good stuff from everybody that does them about how good they are for margins if you do it well. And we're just going to go pedal to the metal on everything we can guerrilla for advertising. And then also we're going to do online stuff, but it's just expensive. And so we're really just going to push it. And my goal for this year is, I really want to I don't have our updated for today where we're at, but we're at about 450 in revenue. So in the last kind of 4 months of the year, we have to do a massive sprint. And I think we can cross $1 million if I kill it. If I absolutely kill it and really put in the work that needs to get put in and put the right people in the right seats, I think we can cross it using aerations as a massive crutch and Christmas lights as a massive crutch. I think as those ancillary things that are add-ons, I think we could easily do 100,000 in aerations. Like,
I agree.
we have a stand-on aerator that's fancy now. When the company we bought came with one, so
yeah,
fancy stand-on aerator now. And we have the trucks to do it. We just need to get the jobs, which I'm good at. So
yeah,
usually.
Heck yeah, I love it. And we're running out of time. We kind of got a late start here because we had some technical difficulties. But I always ask this one question, like, what are you most proud of? I mean, you've only been doing it for like 5 years, which is impressive. Like, what are you most proud of to this point? I can't wait to do another one of these next year and the year after with you, just to watch your growth.
Yeah, this is the baseline one. Man, I mean, most proud of, I think, like, the more I do it, the more, like I said earlier, the more proud I am of like having a team of people. And I think building the team is something next year I'll probably say is what I'm most proud of, like, as we continue to build a better team under me. But man, I mean, are you proud of myself or proud of the company, or what do you mean?
Both, yeah. Both.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, it was just sticking through it just the not fun times of, just figuring it out. I really didn't have any, like, it was really funny, actually. In case you're curious, my spend difference from coaching from last year to this year is 13,000%, I think, or something. Like, I spent almost nothing on coaching all year last year. And this year so that's been a huge help. So kind of, I think with probably the people I've met and especially this year, I've met a lot of really cool people through you. I met you this year, which is cool. But met a lot of really other cool people that you and I both know from kind of the service autopilot world, or just other, the coaching world, and, just people that are in business, and really kind of starting to build a community there. Just people that like business, because that's what I like to talk about.
Yep.
So probably proud of that. And then, I mean, I'm somebody I'm really poor at looking at the past and saying what's good, because I'm always looking in like 10 steps ahead in the future and angry that I'm not there yet. So like, that's what I was saying earlier. Everything's a speed bump to me. Like, it's just getting to the goal and just driving towards it. So it's like, I don't take a lot of time to look back and like reflect. Probably should do more of that. But
I just told that to someone yesterday. I'm like, yeah, it's hard to think about the really small wins, because like the whole ink thing, it's hard to enjoy the small wins when your vision's so big. It just really is.
Yep. And I surround myself with people like you, and I'm like, man, I'm so tiny. I don't do anything. Like, I need to be in the right spot. And like, you don't ever make me feel that way, but it's just how I feel talking to somebody like you or other guys that I'm.
And I think it's you should never compare yourself to anyone else. You should always compare yourself to where you were last year, or to yourself only, because you don't want to get caught in that rabbit hole and like it just gets you depressed and like, hey, I should be here. Like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? But we just have more time on you. So just compare yourself to week after week, or month after month, year after year. Only compare to yourself, and you'll feel much better about it.
Yeah, I think for personal growth, this has been a big year for me as well. Like, personally growing, I'm really big fan of Alex Hormozi, like skills, traits, and beliefs. And I know he just switched it he took out one of them, but like, whatever, now it's like traits and beliefs or something, or skills and traits or something, whatever. But for me, it's like really just focusing on the skills, and like the person I'm becoming is going to be the reason why I don't have a $2 million company now is because I'm not the person that, or maybe I just need to wait longer, but like I wasn't the person at the beginning of the year that could have a $2 million company, because it didn't have, the stuff we talk about. I didn't have the skills to do stuff. I didn't have the beliefs I could do it. I didn't realize you could go from 0 to 3.2 million in 18 months or whatever. I know that wasn't whatever the numbers were. Like, just like for me, like I didn't realize it was possible, and like convince myself, oh, you can only grow a business so fast in the industry. I know I did better, but like,
Yeah.
So that's been cool for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool, man. Well, we're out of time, but I appreciate being here. I appreciate our friendship. Like, you're super fun to talk to.
Thank you.
I'm always here for you. If you ever need me, like I said, just reach out to me. I know you will. But yeah, I can't wait to catch up in a year and just kind of see where you're at.
Thank you very much. I can't wait.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the Pest Control Millionaire Podcast. If this was valuable to you, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It really makes a big difference for our growth. And if you do need any help growing your business, go ahead and check out pestcontrolmillionaire.com. We have lots of courses up there, from sales to operations. I have some courses there about producing short form content. Plus, we have a mentorship program where you can get one-on-one business coaching from the Pest Control Millionaire himself. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.